Welcome to the Varsity Voices, Chicago Catholic League Sports Talk, part of the Varsity Voices Media Network. We are here with week 2 and our Prognosticus episode for week 2. And what that means is that we are making some predictions for the games for week 2 coming up. Week 1, Dan, is in the books, and we made some predictions. Do you want me to give the how we did on our predictions?
Let's hear the bad news.
All
Let's
right,
make it
so
public.
I was 17-4. How about that?
That's good.
Yeah,
It got
and
better since you texted me.
you were no. I think I had the wrong numbers on that one. You were 16-5.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, good. Yeah, take it.
If you are looking to buy or sell a home, contact RE/MAX Realtor and Circle of Legends recipient Christopher Cobb. Let Chris's extensive negotiating experience work to guide you on all of your real estate buying and selling needs. Contact Christopher now to discuss the right strategy for your personalized real estate buying and selling plan. His number is 630-420-0070, or you can visit his website at christophercobb.com.
So I'm Joe Frevaletti. Here with me is my co-host, as always, Dan Frevaletti, and we are bringing you the best and most up-to-date information that we have regarding the Chicago Catholic League. And when we look at week 1, there were some surprises there. There were some that we thought were going to be exactly how they turned out to be, but a couple of surprises. So I think in week 2, we're going to be looking at who's going to kind of take that next step from one standpoint, who's maybe going to turn things around. Maybe they didn't perform as well in week 1 that they had hoped. So week 2 is just as interesting as week 1, I think. Yeah.
BATW, Joe.
BATW.
It happens after this week for sure.
Yeah. After this week, we'll start talking about that, Dan.
All right.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be anxious, but I am to talk about it. But yeah, it's
right.
It's the second week you start to look at that Catholic League schedule, for every one of these teams, and it's daunting, right? And
it is.
So yeah, this is a big week for a lot of teams. So next week we will have teams fairly in the BATW category.
All right, but before we talk about that, we need to talk about this week. We went out to Fenwick and we presented Zuko's Dog of the Week award for week 1 to Jake Thies from Fenwick. Really good visit we had out there with Fenwick, but you came home and today Zuko kind of woke up a little sick, right?
A little under the weather. Yeah.
A little under the weather. What's going on with him?
Do you ever notice, before I tell you, Joe, how when like a pet gets sick, like the world stops, right? Appointments get cut short. Your day gets interrupted. Work gets completely shut off. And it is, how are we going to get this dog okay? At least that's what happens. That's what happens at my house. And rushing to get him into the last appointment of the day. And the big guy's got a little double ear infection. That happens sometimes. They said the hot weather that we had previously. Yeah. So which tells you I've ignored him for a couple weeks.
Yeah. What have you been doing to him? That's the first thing that comes to my mind. What have you been doing?
It's funny. You can spot, I don't know, I'm sure everyone's the same, but you can spot when your pet is different, right? They're just little things.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it might be the smallest thing. And I thought, it'll work itself out. But today we woke up to him like flapping his ears continuously for an hour. And so I couldn't get in until 5:30 tonight. And but I had to change my schedule immediately because Zuko was going into the vet. Yeah. Like I said, the earth turned down its axis and stopped spinning, and everything changed when Zuko had to go to the vet. So but he's good.
All right, good.
Yeah,
Good.
he was in here a little while ago. I think I told you he was making sure the perimeter was clear of squirrels. So
So he's off the injured list. He's not on the pup list or anything like that, right?
that's
So
right. That's
so
right. He'll be good to go.
next
He's
week
good to
he'll be good
go.
to go.
Good to
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Whoever our dog of the week is next week.
Ready and raring.
Ready and raring to go. Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't it kind of funny, though, that you and I are both empty nesters, right? So it used to be our kids that
Yeah.
the earth stopped or rotated differently on its axis. You moved heaven and earth for whatever it was your kids needed.
Right.
They're gone now. So now it's our pets.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've got the two dogs, as you know, and everything revolves around the pets, around my dogs.
Real.
Yeah, my
It's
schedule, when I eat, when I wake up, what I do during the day, it's all revolves around my dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be thought put into how is what I plan to do here going to affect the dog or dogs. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into this, Dan. Let's get into our Prognosticus episode.
Let's see what the Prognosticus are.
Let's see what he has to say.
Yes.
Yes. And ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a devastating illness that weakens the muscles we use to move, swallow, and breathe. Over time, it becomes fatal. On average, people live just 2 to 5 years after diagnosis. There's no cure yet, but thanks to research and clinical trials at the Les Turner ALS Center at Northwestern Medicine, we're getting closer every day. This fight is personal for me and Dan. Our brother-in-law passed away from ALS a couple of years ago. That's why I want to invite you to join the ALS Walk for Life on Saturday, September 20th at Soldier Field, hosted by Chicago's Les Turner ALS Foundation. Funds raised support their mission to provide comprehensive care for people living with ALS, their families, and to advance life-changing research. Come be part of the movement. There'll be food trucks, live entertainment, and fun for the whole family. Together, we can honor loved ones, support those battling ALS today, and bring hope for a cure tomorrow. Learn more or register now at alswalkforlife.org. And we always seem to start kind of with the blue division, but we're going to start with the white division for this, okay?
Perfect.
Yeah, so the first game here in the white division is St. Lawrence against Evanston. And, Evanston last week had a big win over Niles North. But you know how I like to look at past schedules and that kind of thing and scores.
Yes.
They lost last year to St. Lawrence 42-7. But I feel like, looking at some of the I didn't watch any clips, but I read some of the information, that this is a different Evanston team than last year. So this game is at St. Lawrence. St. Lawrence pitched a shutout against King in week 1. But I think they're going to face a little bit more talent in Evanston. But before I give you my pick, I want you to talk about it a little bit.
Yes. So I don't use a transitive property like you do. Yeah. So
I know.
I do look at it.
I'm an A to B to C guy, Dan.
Yes, for sure. Sure. Yes. I'm the geography guy. These two are far away.
Right.
Horrible ride for one of these two. Horrible.
Well,
Where's it at?
This is at St. Lawrence. So
horrible ride for Evanston.
Brutal. Okay.
Horrible. Yeah, they should leave now. I like this game for St. Lawrence, and I think it's a good measuring stick for those of us that follow this to see where they're at. We're going to get a better idea of that defense because Evanston can clearly score some points. They put up 49 last week.
Right.
But you've got to keep an eye on two players for St. Lawrence, Corey Less, who we've talked about a lot, and Sean Rice. They may both be two-way players, but both have an impact defensively. So I'll be interested to see how they, what was real in the shutout, and see if that's truly the case, and if Evanston, if they hold Evanston, we've got a really good idea. So my pick is for Lawrence, Joe.
Yeah.
This week, I think they're going to prove to us that they're for real.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that. I think Lawrence is going to win this game as well. Um, you know, at home, I think makes a difference. I do think, one of the things that Lawrence showed me last week in their shutout is their defense is there, top notch. They've got enough offense to score the number of points I think that they need. So I'm going to pick St. Lawrence in this game too, Dan.
All right.
All right. So we are the same on that game. The next game in the white division, and this is Montini and Hillcrest. Montini's at Hillcrest. That makes a difference to you. But last week Montini had a big win against Lumen Christi, right? Another really tough team. Hillcrest, when we were out there, we saw Hillcrest play Bennett, and they lost to Bennett 18-8. I think Montini's going to have their way with Hillcrest in this game, Dan. I don't think it's even going to be close. So we'll see. I don't know what you think about this, but I'm going with Montini. I'm riding the Bronco in this game.
Yeah, Hillcrest had one big play against Bennett. Long touchdown, looked like maybe a blown coverage. Other than that, Bennett shut him down. And I think it's funny. I think, like we said this, like Mount Carmel looked like Mount Carmel of last week. Montini looked like Montini. They played great defense. They had enough offense against a really good Lumen Christi team. I don't know if there is letdown yet, but might have to worry about that a little bit after such a big game. But I think Montini has too much for Hillcrest, and I also am choosing to ride the Bronco.
All right, riding the Bronco. All right, so
don't we have Broncos? Don't we have that sound effect?
You're really springing that on me, aren't you?
Good for that.
Yeah. Did you want me to find it for you? Hold on.
I think our Montini fans will appreciate it.
All right. Hold on. Let me see.
Nice.
There it is.
There it is.
What do you think? Okay.
I like it. I like it.
All right. I'll have that more at the ready as we go forward. Okay.
Please. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're gonna come up with 24 of these.
Great. Yeah. All right. So we're both riding the Bronco, Montini over Hillcrest. The next game, which I had, I am back and forth on this still, Dan. So I want to hear what you have to say about this first. And this is Carmel at Lake Forest. So Carmel had a good week one, right? Scored a lot of points, but they were expected to against Grays Lake Central. Last year they started off the same way, and then they ran into a buzzsaw in Lake Forest last year. So they're playing Lake Forest again at Lake Forest, and we know this is a rivalry, more of a coach's rivalry, right? So
as much as players, they're probably if there's going to be youth football leagues that these guys are in, they're probably in it together.
And that's because, let's see, Jason McKee, right, the head coach for Carmel, was a Bears player. What Bears players are coaching at Lake Forest? There's a couple, I think. Yeah. Do you know which ones?
Off the top of my head?
No,
but I'm gonna be. It's gonna be one of those things that I should have known this because I remember talking about it and I was like, oh yeah.
We interviewed Coach McKee earlier, and he mentioned who they were, but of course I can't remember who that was. But anyways, Lake Forest last week had they really kind of trounced what is normally a pretty good Deerfield team, and I think they shut them out 30-0, Dan. Last year Lake Forest lost to Deerfield, so I think Lake Forest is got a team to be reckoned with this year. So this is going to be a real challenge for Carmel.
Yeah, I think it's a great week too. Carmel was one of our teams with something to prove, right?
Right.
So this is one of those weeks. Go prove it, right? So that's kind of my thought behind it. Trey
Yeah.
Taylor, Kai Owens have another week to make a statement. I'm picking Carmel, Joe, based on our interview with Trey Taylor and just how focused he seemed
How
and ready
dialed
for the
in he
season.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and ready for the
Hmm.
season and ready to compete. He was no nonsense. There was a seriousness to him that I think was real, and
Yeah.
so I think that this is a rivalry, like you said, red letter game for Carmel, revenge game. So I'm taking the coursers on this one.
Okay.
Get the
I'm
sound
going
effect.
to. I don't have one for them. Do you know what a Corsair sounds like?
I think it's kind of night like whoosh.
Nightlight?
So yeah, like
Yeah. Clanging of swords.
yeah.
All
What is
right.
a
I'll
courser?
find that for next
All
time.
right.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to go opposite on this from you, Dan. I'm going to take Lake Forest in this, even though I agree with you. I think Trey Taylor is on a mission this year at Carmel, but I think Lake Forest might have just too much, for Carmel to deal with. So I'm going to go with Lake Forest. It's at Lake Forest too, which makes a difference to me, and I think that might be the difference maker. And I'm going to take Lake Forest in this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Our first contrarian pick.
All right. Yeah, that's okay. All right. So we've got let's see. Next game in the white division is Fenwick at Oak Park River Forest.
Another
Right.
rivalry. Yeah.
Another rival. They're right down the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.1 miles. I made
3.1
I
miles.
made that up. I made that
Yeah.
up.
How far? And I only know this because we were there yesterday. We were at Fenwick and we're presenting our Dog of the Week award to Jake Thies, our Week 1 Dog of the Week award winner. Um, and I was driving down. I'm not sure what the street was, but there was a bunch of football players out there on a football field. I'm like, who is that? And the Concordia University is right there too. Did you know
Yeah.
that? I
Not
didn't
until
know that.
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
Same with Dominican
right.
University is right there. Yeah.
Jeez.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Dominican. I was like,
beautiful
whoa, that is
campuses. Yeah,
really nice. Yeah.
yeah. And Fenwick has a beautiful campus too. We
Yeah.
were at
Yeah.
the
Very nice.
Friary campus, but
Priory. Yep.
Priory. That's
Right.
it's the Fenwick Friars, right? I'm always a little bit off, just a little bit. Yeah,
Just one click. Click.
one
Yep.
click. All right. So anyway, tell me, what do you think about Fenwick and OPRF?
Fenwick was, I think, the most balanced team I saw last week in all
Yeah.
phases. And they just have too much for OPRF. They're in a
Yeah.
downswing, and the weapons that Fenwick has with the Thies brothers. Jamin Williams was just so good, spot on.
Yeah.
On time. In rhythm. Everything looked really good. Joe, I was trying to do a roster search for Fenwick this week. Struggled,
Okay.
and because they have a receiver number 1, maybe you know the name. He's so quick, as quick as anyone I've seen. I mean, that first step quickness, that is just, and he can make you miss in a phone booth.
Yeah.
He's really, really, really something. And so they are really balanced. Great kicking game in Northwestern bound Noah Sir. So I just think they have too much.
Yeah. I do too. I'm with you on that, Dan. I'm picking Fenwick in this game. I think they have way too much for OPRF. So I think this ends up in a blowout. So all right. So that's white division. Let's move on to the red, Dan, and we'll start with Marmion, and they are playing North Lawndale. I believe this game is at Marmion. Marmion had a tough week last week. They beat Oak Forest last year, But last week or this past week, they had a really tough time with them. Even though I know they had a couple of new players in key positions, the quarterback is still young. He's only a sophomore. They lost some really good playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I thought they were going to be a little bit better on defense, honestly, than what they showed. So I would imagine Coach Guerra worked Marmion pretty hard this week.
Yeah, they should. I think letting up 41 last week was probably not something that they anticipated. I mean, and this should be a win for Marmion. I'm going to pick them, but it'd be nice
Yeah.
to see offensively them keep going with Roy Magana and Colin McHenry, and McHenry's also a stud defensively. So it'd be really nice to see their defense take a step. I think they've got a good opportunity to do that. I'm going to pick Marmion.
Yeah, I'm picking Marmion too. I think they get back on track here. I don't know if you remember, but Marmion was one of the teams I picked that I thought was going to surprise this year.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to them getting back on track here against North Lawndale. I think they shouldn't have any problem with getting the win here. So, all right, let's move on to De La Salle against Plainfield East. Dan, um, Plainfield East easily beat Argo last week. They scored
They pounded them.
55 points. They just pounded them, right? Um, and now they've got De La Salle coming in. Playing them at Plainfield East. We know where De La Salle is at in their kind of growth or progression right now, and I think De La Salle got beat big, by 42-0 by Revis last week. So I don't think the outcome of this game is going to be much different than it was last week for De La Salle. So I'm going with Plainfield East in this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am as well. Plainfield East, while in the lower division of their conference, will just have too much for De La Salle at this point in De La Salle's program. But again, message: stick with it, De La Salle players.
Right.
Stick with it. Don't give up. You're going to get better. You're going to get better fast. So, while I'm picking Plainfield East, I'm hoping it's a better game than what De La Salle had last weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. What I would like to see is a little bit of growth, a little bit of progression
Yeah.
for De La Salle. Like we said last week in our recap episode, that we see some talent there. So I'd like to see them maybe utilize some of that talent, maybe in a little bit different kind of way or something, and maybe they can get on track, put some points on the board, make a game of this. But I think Plainfield East comes out on top, as well as you do. The next game is Leo and let's see, Amundsen, right?
Yes.
Leo and Amundsen. So one of the things I liked about Leo last year, who had a difficult year as well, but one of the things I liked about their last games, they scored 46 points against Dunbar. Now, we know Dunbar is not a real difficult team to play, but still, if you can put up 42 points, that's good against whoever at the varsity level, right? So I look for Leo to have the same kind of week this week as well against Amundsen. Amundsen was only able to score, I think, or actually, I think they forfeited last week. I don't know if you saw that. So,
No, I
yeah.
didn't see that.
So this game is probably up in the air as far as whether or not it's going to be played or not. But if it is, I'm picking Leo in this game.
Yeah, the most encouraging thing I heard about the Leo game was that they were really good fundamentally. And
Yeah.
and so that's a big deal. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that's a big deal, and you work on that. And there are teams that struggle with that. So they get another game to get their young guys some experience. Jabril Kanike, two-way player for Leo.
You'll get that sooner or later.
I will. I thought I had it. He
were
leads
close.
the way for the Lions. So
Yep.
they've got several two-way players. So they're I think they get a good win this week, and so I'm picking Leo.
Yeah.
Go Lions.
Okay. All right. Go Lions. We're going to have to come up with a hashtag for that. Is it just Go Lions, you
No,
think?
I think we need a sound effect and a
Yeah.
hashtag.
Lions roar?
A roar, right? Simple. You should be able to find that anywhere.
Yeah, all right. I'll get on that
I'm
too.
shocked you didn't have it.
Right. All right. So the last game in the red division is Marion Catholic, and they are playing Morton. So Marion lost last week. Maybe a bit of a surprise to you and me because we both picked Marion. They lost to St. Viator, 22-19. Morton, on the other hand, came away with a 1-point win, 28-27. So I'm having a lot of difficulty with this game, Dan. This is at Marion Catholic, and I feel like that might be the difference here in two teams, which I think are probably pretty evenly matched. So I'm going to go with Marion in this game.
All right, Joe. I understand you asked me what a Potter is, right?
A what?
A Potter.
No,
the
I
Morton
didn't.
Potters. So I understand you want to know what a Potter is.
I do. Can you tell me what a Potter is, please?
So
Yeah.
Morton, their nickname is the Potters.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because that area of Illinois, central Illinois, or wherever they're at, was kind of the hub for pottery back in the 30s and 40s.
You are making this up.
I swear. I swear, yes. So that's why they're the Potters. I thought I've got to look back at the history of the name because that's a weird name, the Potters.
And here I thought you didn't have any time on your hands today.
Before Zuko took over my day,
right?
Yes, I was able to look up what a Potter was or how they got the name the Potters. So
Potters. All right.
Yeah.
So are you picking the Potters?
Nope.
Over the Spartans,
I'm going with the Spartans.
You are going with the Spartans.
Yes,
okay.
Spartans.
Do you know the history of the Spartans' name at Marion?
I've seen the movies. So
which ones? Yeah.
What's that called?
And we were the Spartans in grade school.
That's right. Lakeview Junior High.
Lakeview Junior High.
Yeah.
Spartans. All right.
It became a much cooler nickname after the movie.
Yes.
500. Is that what that movie was called?
300?
300?
However many, those guys fought their butts off.
Yes. I was proud to be a Spartan alum. Yeah, at that point. But yeah, no, I'm Joe, they just can't turn the ball over. They play pretty good football. I did get a chance to see a half of this game and they just turned it over due to pressure, probably some throws that Owen Askren would like back, but they've got some guys that can put up some numbers, and they play pretty soundly. So cut down on the turnovers, and I think you'll see Marion be one of those teams that improves a lot from week 1 to week 2. So I'm picking Marion Catholic.
Okay, yeah, we like Marion Catholic. I think you picked them to surprise this year, right?
I did.
You did. Them and you're on their bandwagon. You're on the Spartan.
Yep, I'm part of
the 300. It's not a bandwagon. It's what's the thing where it's two wheels. You're standing in there and you're whipping the horse in front of you, and it's a chariot.
Yes. Yes.
You're on the chariot.
on the chariot. Yes.
All right. Okay, good.
So, yeah.
All right. We're both on the chariot.
I'm part of the 3. We're part of the 300.
Part of the 300.
Those guys were jacked.
They were jacked. They have to go to 1,000. We're part of the 1,000.
Right. We're going to be in the back.
We can't make the initial 300.
If anyone needs coffee, we're back.
The next phase, the next 300, maybe. But the next 300 after that, we are in.
Right. We're in the third group of 300.
Just stand way in the back and just raise our swords.
Yeah. Raise our
everybody
swords
else fights.
Right.
Yes. All right.
Perfect.
Good.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Purple division, Dan, and we'll start with Bennett. Bennett against Glenbard North. So, I picked against Bennett last week against Hillcrest. They won 18-8. I think you did pick Bennett, so good for you. One of the things, and I've looked at this a little closer because I really wanted to figure out this game. I didn't realize how well Bennett's defense played last week. Um, they only gave up 29 rushing yards. Did you see that?
Yeah.
To a Hillcrest team, which I know is a lot of explosive and talented players, right? So for their defense to show up that way, I thought, that is huge. But when you look at what Glenbard North did last week and the number of weapons they have on offense, not a running back, but a quarterback and receivers, yeah, I'm not sure how Bennett's going to stop them. What do you think?
Well, I'm anxious to see how Bennett looks because this is, what's interesting about Glenbard North is they run an old school pro formation. So they have
Yeah,
tight end, two tights, I formation, and they pound you. And it's funny how I think we've talked about this before. How some of the defenses, and I think Bennett's included, focused on speed, getting speed, so you can get to these great wide receivers in the conference,
yeah,
and help control some of this passing game. And Glenbard North is the exact opposite of that. It's kind of what I thought would make sense to do if you had the personnel to line up and smash people, which I think this formation and offense might give Bennett problems, from a size standpoint. I think
yeah,
Glenbard North might be bigger. So we'll see if Bennett can continue to run to the football. I think because traditionally this is the type of team that gives Bennett trouble. I'm going with Glenbard North in this one. Their running back is really good. He's really good.
yeah,
Watch some film. He's a player. Doesn't go down without multiple players hitting him. And finds the open hole. Will cut against the grain. So they're going to need to run to the ball. Offensively, they've got to get Luke Doyle more involved. They've got a nice receiving core there with Luke Doyle leading it, Luca Diomede and John Erickson. They've got to find a way to get those guys the ball.
yeah. I think that I agree with you 100%. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see Doyle's stats from last week, but I thought, the talent that he has, he's got to be more involved in the game on the offensive side of the ball. I know he's playing defense too, and he does a good job on defense, but he needs a few more targets, and the ball in his hands. And I'm not sure how Bennett is going to stop some of the weapons that Glenbard North has. So I'm picking Glenbard North too, Dan. I hate to do that, both of us against our alma mater.
Right.
Right.
It just shows we're true to the pod. Yes,
We are true to the
bit.
pod.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure our fans, our Bennett fans especially, love that, Dan.
Love to hear that. Go out and prove us wrong, please.
Yes, please prove us wrong. All right. So next game in the Purple Division is St. Pat's against Larkin. So I'm going to just jump right into it here and say St. Pat's is going to win this game, Dan.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm going out on a limb?
Not really. Larkin has struggled for years as a program. I think it's a good matchup for week 2.
I do too.
I think Pat's, showed they can play defense, giving up only 14 points in a loss at Yorkville. We got to see if their offense can get on track and do something consistently, whether that's run behind that big offensive line, which is what we both think they should do. Those guys got to perform, right? They've got to lean into that and literally move some people around. So I think they'll be able to do that against Larkin. And so I'm picking St. Pat's.
Okay. Yeah. I'm picking St. Pat's too. I saw some glimpses in watching some of the film from last week where I think St. Pat's may be able to put it together offensively and start to score some points, like you said, running behind that big offensive line. And I think they're going to get on track here against Larkin. I know Larkin has struggled over the past several years, and this is probably exactly what St. Pat's needs in game 2 here. Get their first win for Coach Zibikowski, which would be nice to do. And I think they're going to do it this week. So, all right. All right. So the next game here in the Purple Division, Dan, is DePaul Prep against St. Ignatius
Yeah,
and
the Varsity Voices Bowl.
the Varsity Voices Bowl. I like that. Maybe
Yeah.
we can bill it that way
Right?
next year. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
write
this
him a
is
check, will you?
yeah, we write a check. Yeah, is this another thing we spoke into existence?
I believe it is.
I think so too.
I don't know if anyone will admit that to us, but I believe it is.
Yeah. Yeah, because Coach Passarella said that this was a rivalry game that his players felt like. And then Coach Miller from St. Ignatius, I wasn't sure he had the same feeling or not. Now, this was last year, right? So I don't know. Maybe a lot's changed this year, but here it is. They're playing each other, and it's going to be an interesting game. For me, I was thinking this is going to be which team and which side of the ball for each team made the most progress or is going to make the most progress from week 1 to week 2. Personally, Dan, I wouldn't have wanted to been a player on either of these teams this week because the practices must have been just brutal. DePaul Prep didn't score any points, last week. So I'm thinking,
Didn't they
if
score late, Joe, after the clock?
they scored late after the running
clock.
clock, I think,
Yeah.
which just surprised the heck out of me.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling Coach Passarella really was whipping them into shape this week. Same thing for Ignatius, but on the other side of the ball, on defense, they didn't play nearly as well as they've been able to play in the past. So, I'm interested to see who steps up, which side of the ball steps up for each of these teams. But I'm going to pick DePaul Prep in this game at Ignatius.
Yeah, Joe, my thoughts on this are what team gets in better sync with their offense for this week?
Yeah.
I don't think St. Ignatius was anticipating, not putting the ball in the end zone. Their only points came on a field goal.
Right.
And DePaul Prep just got bum rushed,
Yeah.
and smacked in the mouth. They never looked in sync to me. They always looked like they were on their heels. So credit Fenwick for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think DePaul has to just get in better sync. I think they've got an opportunity to. I think St. Ignatius being one dimensional. Obviously they know what they're doing, so they can surprise you with the pass and get outside and do some things so they aren't just handing the ball to the fullback.
Right.
But I think it's a good opportunity for DePaul Prep. We will see if the added size that Coach Passarella talked about makes a difference in this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to, and I'm also going to pick DePaul Prep.
Okay. All right. Good. So we move on. Last team in the purple division, and that is St. Viator, who last week got a nice win for new coach Robbie Gold. Viator this week takes on Kenwood, which I think they're going to run into a bit of a problem, I think, with Kenwood and the athletes that they have, and I don't know who you said this when we were talking about it earlier this week. I mean, Kenwood gave was it St. Francis all they could handle last week, and was it Michael Bryan from the Sun Times who said best public league team he's seen in years?
Yeah, best public league performance he's seen since COVID.
Yeah, so I mean that says a lot, I think, and we do know Kenwood is very talented, and they schedule tough games all the time, especially in their first 2 games of the year before they hit their public league schedule. This game is at St. Viator, so maybe makes a bit of a difference, but I honestly think in this game that Kenwood is going to have a little too much talent, a little too much speed for St. Viator to handle, and I'm going to pick Kenwood in this game.
So, Joe, I'm going the same way.
All right.
The game is at St. Viator. If I'm wrong, it'll be exciting or if we're wrong, because it means St. Viator is kind of ahead of schedule.
Yes.
They play really good defense against Marian Catholic. Joe, I've got to highlight a couple players.
Okay.
And I wish I would have seen this before. I don't know if it would have changed my dog prediction, but these guys, they should have got mentioned. Number 64, Peter LaFleur, big two-way lineman, and he's good defensively. He's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah,
Okay.
he is a guy that gets off as a big guy. He's not just a hole plugger. Gets off blocks, plays with an edge, active, athletic for a big guy, and number 33, Win Philippe. I don't know if I'm
Okay.
pronouncing that right, but
I don't know. Yeah.
he had 3 sacks. He is a really talented pass rusher. He is a guy that you can see he's trained at it. He's got great moves. Uses his hands really well. So, um, while I think that they are likely to be legit defensively, I
Yeah.
don't know if they'll have enough overall to stay with Kenwood. So my
Yeah.
picks for Kenwood.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're both the same on that one as well. I'm trying to see if how many differences we have. Not many.
Not many this week.
One,
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
one.
one so far.
All
We'll
right.
see as we continue.
We'll see. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the Orange Division, and we'll start with the Notre Dame game against St. Charles East. Notre Dame got their first win last week for Coach DeFranza.
You said that like your prognosticus said it.
Coach DeFranza. Right. He'll appreciate that, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yes. On the other side, St. Charles East just got completely trounced, 62-0 or 63-0. I think if I'm reading that right.
Yeah.
And anytime you lose 63-0, something is not going good.
No, you've got problems.
You've got problems. And I think Notre Dame, although they struggled to score right last week, and but I think they started to find something, right? And you mentioned was it Troy Nightingale, their running back, who had a really good game. I think he rushed for over 120 yards, had a touchdown late with under 2 minutes to go to put him over the top and give him the win. I think Coach DeFranza probably leans into that against St. Charles East, and they just try and pound the ball here, and they come away with the victory. So I'm picking Notre Dame in this stand.
Joe, I think Notre Dame moves to 2-0. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they found something offensively late in that game, and nothing magic happened. They just they kind of realized they brought Luke Dickey in. I think he was the second quarterback to play, and he's also got some wheels. Very good athletically.
Yeah.
Can get out on the corner. Can run the the read option. And with Troy Nightingale, and they've also got Deontay Macon. They kind of found something where had they kind of stuck to this plan from the outset, I think that game would have been, they would have scored more points earlier. So I think they found something. I think you're absolutely right. They lean into it this game, and they take it to St. Charles East.
Okay. All right. Good. And the next game we've got here is Providence against Lincoln Way Central. Providence, really good win last week against Wheaton Academy. Scored a lot of points, 49-14. And on the other side, Lincoln Way Central scored even more points. Right?
They beat St. Charles East.
They beat St. Charles East 63-0. Right?
All right. I see the wheels turning in your head.
Yes, they are turning in my head. And, I do feel like Providence is a very talented team this year. And, the couple of players that they're relying on have kind of grown into this. And we've seen a couple of them play over the years, so we know how talented they are. But I think Lincoln Way Central might be a little bit too much for Providence at this point in the year. And I'm going to go with Lincoln Way Central. It's at Lincoln Way Central, if that matters to you, Dan.
It's a rivalry game, Joe. Both those are close. I just typed it in. They're 15 hours and 5 minutes away. That's right.
15 hours.
I clearly got the wrong Providence.
Right. You've
Yes,
got Providence, Rhode Island.
I sure do. Yep. So Providence, Rhode Island, and Lincoln Way Central, 15 hours by car.
Right.
So,
All right.
yeah, I took Lincoln Way Central, Joe, but
You did. Okay.
this was the
Yeah.
toughest pick for me.
I thought for sure you were going to take Providence.
Yeah, I think Lincoln Way Central has been a program building for several years, and I think
really
they're
good.
I think
Yeah.
they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Providence, this is one of those games that might be different if it was played week 7. I'd love to see the non-conference games split up a little bit, but I think Lincoln Way Central wins this game at home in a close one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. I've got it down. The next game in the Orange Division is Joliet Catholic against Glenbard West. And here's the difficulty I have with this game, Dan, is, I can't remember the last time, even though we're only 2 years into our podcast, but where I would pick Joliet Catholic to lose their first 2 games of the year.
Yeah.
Right. But I just think they're, even though they would like to say they're reloading, I really think they're rebuilding, and they've kind of lost their identity a bit, right? So they've got to change, and they're trying to. You can tell. I mean, they're putting more of the burden on their quarterback, Lucas Similik, right?
Yeah.
And he had a decent game last week, but I'm just not sure that's enough. It goes against everything that Joliet Catholic has always kind of relied on, and that is that strong running game, always having 1, 2, or 3 outstanding running backs, and they just don't have that this year, right? And I think they're trying to rely on their defense, and their defense can't be out there forever, like they were last week against LT. And I think they're going to have trouble this week as well. So I'm going to pick Glenbard West in this game over Joliet Catholic.
Well, Glenbard West coming off a huge win, surprise victory over Batavia.
Right.
Joliet Catholic coming off a tough loss. So don't know if there's any sort of letdown. And Joliet Catholic has a certain mentality and a pride that they're gonna bow their necks and give them a really good game. However, I was shocked to see how few yards Joliet Catholic rushed for against LT. Now LT's got a really good defense. They're a defensive minded team. So but I was still shocked by that, and that they did have more success through the air, but kind of because they had to. I think Glenbard West is you can't really call them this. They missed the playoffs 1 year, but kind of a team on the rise. I think they've had some really good success in the lower levels, and I think they're going to be too much for Joliet Catholic. So I'm with you, picking the Hilltoppers over the Hilltoppers.
Hilltoppers over the hill. Oh, I didn't even realize that.
I think they are. I think they both are.
All Hilltoppers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something we should keep an eye on for sure, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the next game in the Orange Division, and this is a big one, right? This is Marist against Brother Rice. And what do they call this?
The Battle of Pulaski.
Battle of Pulaski, right?
They are 2.1 miles apart.
2.1. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's close.
Yeah.
I can walk that on a good day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I could make that with Zuko if he's in perfect health. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as his ears are feeling good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Yeah. So Marist lost a tough one last week to St. Rita, and things don't get easier for them now against Brother Rice, right? We talk about schedules and all of that, but I think Marist is really given themselves a tough start to the year here this year with scheduling Rita and then Brother Rice. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it could be the year of Brother Rice. I think we might be looking at. They're so talented.
Yeah,
they're so talented. I think if they were to realize how talented they are, they'd be even better. I still feel like sometimes they're like, thinking they've got to play a certain way, and I'd like to see them cut it loose a little bit. They've
Yeah.
got so many weapons, C.J. Gray, Javon Green, King Liggins on the defensive line,
Yeah.
McGee on the defensive line. He plays both ways, so they are going to be tested with the Marist running game. We saw kind of the breakout for Kevin Bartolotta.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's
180 yards against St. Rita. That's something.
That's
Yeah.
something. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably going to be a steady diet of that behind that big offensive line. That said, Joe, I think Rice might be able to put up some points. So I'm going to go with Brother Rice.
Yeah. What this came down to for me, Dan, was star power, right? You got to
Yep.
rely on your stars,
Yep.
and I just feel like Brother Rice may have a few more, especially on the offensive side of the ball, than Marist does this year. And I think that's going to be the difference. Now I know this game is at Marist, and that's a tough place to play for any team to go
It
into
is.
Marist.
That's tough.
Yeah, but I do think Brother Rice, with their talent on both sides, actually, I said offensive, but they've got a really good defense too. But I do think they've got a little bit more star power, and I think the Stars kind of step up in this game, and they're able to beat Marist. So I'm gonna pick Brother Rice as well.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, our friends at Maris are not going to be happy with us.
No, they're not.
All right, so we're going to move on to the Green Division, and the first game here is St. Francis and Mount Zion Prep. This game is on a Saturday out in Maryland, right? So St. Francis they're probably there already, would be my
Are they
guess.
going out there? God, I thought I saw different, but wow, that good for
I
them.
think they're going out there.
Okay.
Yeah. But that said, what we saw last week from St. Francis, especially, I want to qualify that on the offensive side, was really something. So their transfer quarterback, Brock Phillip, just had an outstanding debut, didn't he? My gosh.
He was great. He was great. Multiple, dual threat. Yeah, he can really run. Throw the ball, gets the ball to that great receiving core. Yeah, they looked really good offensively.
Yeah. So they looked really good offensively, right? All their wide receivers were there. You can say this name better than I can, but Milivojevic.
Yep, you got it.
Nice. And Zach Washington, as well as Tanner Glock. I mean, they all had good games, so their weapons are there. What worries me about this is their defense, right? Giving up 34 points to Kenwood. We know Kenwood is talented, so I don't want to say anything against Kenwood and what they were able to do, but it worries me about their defense that they can't hold or might not be able to hold other teams under 21 points or something along those lines. And we'll see what Mount Zion does, because Mount Zion is a ranked team in Maryland. They lost last week.
I think they're 0-2.
Yeah, 0-2. They lost the last 2 weeks, so they might not be ranked anymore.
Right.
But you know how it is traveling out there, especially at the high school level, where you got to travel out there and, get ready for a game in a weird place, your last practice, who knows where that's at. But I still think on the offensive side of the ball, St. Francis has got way too many weapons for Mount Zion to contend with. So I'm going to pick St. Francis in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to pick St. Francis too. I'm going to lean on the fact that these are two ranked teams in their areas. I think Illinois football is better than Maryland's football.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about Zion.
I know you said that. I heard you say that with a very muted voice, Dan.
I'll say it loud right into the microphone. Give me Illinois football over Maryland.
All right.
So I think that Are you sure that game's in Maryland?
It's on Saturday.
Max Preps has it in Wheaton.
Do they? I thought. Well, I don't know.
All my notes were about coming to Wheaton.
All right. Does
That's
that matter?
No, it doesn't.
All right.
I was picking St. Francis anyway.
Either way?
Think, yeah, either way, I think they're going to be the better team. I don't know. There was not much to find out about Mount Zion Prep, so that's what I'm leaning on. Illinois over Maryland.
Illinois over Maryland. All right, that's as good a criteria as any, Dan, as far as predicting some of the games. So the next Green Division game is Nazareth against Morgan Park. Tell me what you think about this one, Dan.
Joe, I was shocked to see that what Morgan Park did to Downers Grove North.
Me too.
Took them to the wire, and really defensive battle. And Downers Grove North is loaded with D1 guys, on the offensive side of the ball. And so, Nasir Rankin for Morgan Park, he's an all-world. And then they've got an SEC defensive end in Carmelo Reed. So they have talent. I think this is going to be a really tight game. It's a great test for Naz. It's a good battle between Carmelo Reed and Luke Injaychuk, my favorite name in the conference.
Another good name.
Yeah, and Morgan Park's got a massive offensive line apparently, so good test for Chris Caskey on the defensive side of the ball. He's a player I really like.
Hey Dan, can I interrupt you for a second? It is at St. Francis.
Okay. Game. All right. So Saturday game in Wheaton, Zion Prep traveling team.
All right, that doesn't change my prediction either. Yes. All right, go ahead. Sorry about that,
so
people.
That's so anyway, I think I'm going to give it to Naz, but I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, and this game is at Naz, right?
Yes, that's another really tough place to play.
Yeah, it is, and I agree with you on this. I mean, even though I was shocked too at the game that Morgan Park gave Downers Grove North, and we've seen Downers Grove North played or watch them play and how good they are. But I still think, we've also seen Naz, right? And we know
weapons.
Yeah, what weapons they have on the offensive side. And, I think a lot of their, you talk about the size of Morgan Park and they are big, but I always feel like Nazareth, their linemen kind of go, fly under the radar. We know they've got some big dudes up front, right? On offense. So, and they're well coached. They're strong. They know what they're doing. They know how to win. So I'm going to pick Naz in this as well. But I agree. This might be a closer game than people might think.
Yeah, it might be fun. Fun to watch.
Okay. All right. So the next game here is in the Green Division again. IC against Woodstock North. And, I really like what IC was able to do last week. We talked about it in our recap episode. We really feel like they got off to the start that they needed to get off to. A nice win over a really good St. Mary's Southside team. They score 33 points. Their quarterback's playing well. The receivers playing well. They're running the ball. I really feel like they were, on the right track. And I think they continue that this week. I know Woodstock North, really good program. They got a new head coach this year. They scored 68 points, in their win over Elmwood Park. Now, Elmwood Park is not, one of the top programs out there, but still, anytime you have a team that can score 68 points, that makes you stand up and notice, right? But all that said, I still think IC has too much talent, too much toughness on both sides of the ball, and I think they're going to take care of Woodstock North. This game is at IC.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. Excuse me. Sorry. I think Woodstock North is in for a different animal than they played
Mhm.
last week. And Foley Calcagno, Tamarian Garner, and that defense is going to be way too much for the Thunder out of the Kishwaukee Valley Conference.
Right.
And yeah, I think they're that IC defense that I saw, they were relentless, and I loved how they played. You know, they reminded me of some of the Nazareth teams from over the past several years, where it looks like there's 16 guys playing on defense.
Mhm.
You know, and so I think they're going to be too much. I've got IC big in this game, Joe.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, we'll be watching, and we'll see. And actually, I hope they do win big, because IC is one of those teams in the CCL this year that I want to see do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, they're a part of our teams with something to prove.
Yes.
STP.
STP. Teams with something to prove.
I shortened it to
TWSTP. They're getting longer and longer, our acronyms. Yeah. Okay.
Pretty soon our whole show would just be acronyms.
Right. So only our most avid listeners will understand what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So St. Rita and Mount Carmel. How big of a game is this?
Yeah, that's just an awesome rivalry.
Yeah.
I hate that it's the same weekend as Brother Rice and Marist. You know, be really cool with we've been super high on St. Rita all year.
Mm-hmm.
And after this game, they will still, regardless of what happens, they will still be one of the best teams in the state. But Mount Carmel looks like one of the best teams in the country and they haven't missed a beat. Yeah. They looked exactly like they looked last year. You know, maybe there's some opportunities in the passing game for St. Rita, and that experience that they have on the offensive side of the ball is definitely going to pay dividends. I just think Mount Carmel has too much.
Too much. I talked earlier about the other game, Star Power.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Mount Carmel has...
Yeah, they're going to win that every week.
Has a star at every position on both sides of the ball. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And, St. Rita was one of the teams that I picked as kind of a dark horse to maybe go undefeated this year. So I was so tempted to say, maybe they can do the upset here. But then I looked at where the game was at, Dan.
Yeah.
It's at Mount Carmel.
Dowling Stadium. Yeah.
Dowling Stadium. You've got Dowling as a quarterback.
Right.
Throwing to all those weapons, and then you got the giant linemen on both sides of the ball.
Right.
Yeah, so I got to go with Mount Carmel in this too. Yeah. So
they've got several guys that remind you of the superhero Juggernaut.
Right.
They the X-Men just can't be stopped once they start going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And it's going to be really tough for the rest of the Chicago Catholic League this year, I think.
Yeah.
Unless we watch some of these games and start to see some weaknesses, right?
Right.
They did give up a lot of points to Mola.
They did. It was like last year. They gave up some points. They were exposed a little bit in the passing game. So, St. Rita's got a really nice passing game. So we'll see how that plays out. If they can protect Armbruster, I don't know that Mount Carmel does a ton of blitz or anything. So they might be able to have some time, and you just can't make any mistakes because they really capitalize.
That's part of the problem. You can't make any mistakes.
If I were St. Rita, I'd like to try and control the ball on offense.
Yeah.
With Brandon Johnson and Stephen Armbruster using his legs.
Mm-hmm.
I'd huddle and shorten this game too.
Yeah.
I'd be trying to snap the ball like with under 10 seconds every time. Yeah, just to shorten that game.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to be a really good game to watch. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that game. So
last year, Joe, one of these games was on Marquee. I don't know if that's the case this year or not.
I haven't seen anything on Marquee yet this year. Right. I think last year.
Let me look.
a couple of Mount Carmel games were on marquee. I know one was, and I forget who it was against, but it might have been. Does Mount Carmel have one of those like neighborhood games, like Battle of Pulaski? But
It's kind
something
of this
different?
one, maybe. Maybe it's
Is it?
Mount Carmel, Brother Rice,
Yeah.
or it could have been Mount Carmel, Loyola.
Ah, okay. So speaking of Loyola,
They're going to win.
they are going to win, especially since you're not playing anybody, right?
Right. That's too bad.
So I wanted to ask you, Dan, as a coach, do you think were they not able to schedule someone, or do you think they wanted to take a week off?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, 100% no. They probably had dozens and dozens of people they called and to
Yeah.
try and find a game, and probably were willing to travel, and probably heard no an awful lot. So
Huh. Okay.
it's too bad. It's one of these. It's something that needs to be looked at by the IHSA, in regards to changing how the playoffs are done. And
Yeah.
while I don't believe that everybody should get in, there's something to be said for making it so teams can schedule, and so you can have great games like Marist and Brother Rice and St. Rita and Mount Carmel all the time. And you could have these teams playing one another. Not that they would, but you could have some great rivalries. There's if Loyola wanted to play New Trier or something along those lines, it might be, or Warren.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of schools up north, but that would be an awesome game. So it would be. It's too bad, but I guarantee they tried like heck to find a game, because these kids they're not. They don't have 5-year contracts, right? They've got 2 years in most cases to play varsity football. No one's gonna say, yeah, we'll take a week off.
Yeah. Although, I mean, when's the last time this has happened? Right. I mean, it didn't happen.
Well, last year we had it, right?
No, we had forfeits. We had games that were scheduled and then didn't get played because they were forfeited.
No, you're right. You're right.
But to just not have a game even scheduled, I can't think of when the last time that would happen.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer for the kids. It really is too bad.
Yeah. All right. So Loyola's off. We already talked about Ignatius and DePaul Prep, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We talked about Mount Carmel and Rita, right? And we talked about Brother Rice and Marist. So that's the blue division.
Yeah.
We've covered it.
Yeah. Thankfully, there were some games, inter-division games. Intra-division games.
Inner, INNER.
Right. One of these days we'll have someone please text us or send us a note saying what that is.
Well, I'll ask my executive assistant too.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what the question is.
What is the difference between inter and intra?
No, I mean, but in the context of what we're talking about. So. Oh, we already did that award, Zuko.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You have to wait.
So a blue division team playing another blue division team is what? Intra division or inter division?
Yeah, I think
is that what we're talking about?
I think that's intra. God bless America.
He wants to weigh in. Dan just put us all on mute and said something that cannot be said on the podcast to Zuko.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Squirrels are assembling at the end of the driveway.
Yeah, in the dark, which surprises me. Normally it's skunks. Yeah.
Great.
At this point. Yeah.
Perfect.
Anyways, we'll look that up.
That would be the capper of this day. Yeah.
A skunk
Zuko to get attacked by skunks.
Yeah.
Sprayed by skunks.
That would be perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it, Dan, for our Prognosticus episode for week 2. Again, some really great games coming up. some ones that are going to be really interesting to see. Maybe some teams can come back, maybe some teams can continue to roll here, but we will be watching it and we will be listening as well. Make sure you check in with us on Friday night. We will be posting some scores out on our social media, primarily X. And we'll be posting some shorts, giving you score updates at halftime and at the end of the night. So if you just want to check in and see what the scores are and the other games across the Chicago Catholic League, we are the place for you to get that information. So make sure you look out for that and listen when you see that information. But as always, for the Varsity Voices, we're thankful that you're listening. Please follow and subscribe and like us on wherever you're listening from, and we will talk with you soon.